Yeah, hello everyone, and welcome to the very first episode of our iGaming Unplugged, Unfiltered by GammaStack. And I'm your host, Sunny Hooda. And in this series, we are cutting through the noise to bring you unfiltered conversation with the brightest mind shaping the future of iGaming. And honestly, I won't bore you with lots of introduction with lots of nuances and stuff. So welcome, Victoria. How are you?
Great. Thank you so much, Sunny, for having me here. I'm super excited to be part of this, and thank you very much for the invitation too.
Thank you so much. I'll just introduce you a little bit. So Victoria is the founder of PSP Angels and International Banking Strategist, and author of highly regarded book Moving Money: How Banks Thinks. Honestly, I'm not a big bookworm, but I really wanted to know about your book a little more. What was the reason that you started, or what was the idea behind this that you wanted to write a book?
Right. I think we need to go back to the beginning where I actually started. I started in Cyprus, which is a small island in the Mediterranean 20 years ago when Cyprus joined the EU. And back at the time, a lot of companies wanted to take advantage of the tax optimization, still staying within EU, but just pay less taxes in a legal way. So my background is actually a tax accountant, tax consultant. So I was setting up these different companies and help the international companies to work within best the tax environment. But through this work, I realized that there is one thing what the tax advisor tells you, and it's a whole different story what the banks allow you to do. So even though that you're completely legit, there are some banks which want to work with you, some banks which don't want to work with you, and I just didn't really understand why. I'm an accountant, so we were never trained on even the basics of the banking. What is SEPA, SWIFT, open banking, let alone, high risk, iGaming. So as accountants, we don't know a lot of things which are related to payments and banking, but we are obliged to make decisions over that. So there is a bit of a paradox situation of I need to take responsibility for decisions over technology, integration, data security, user experience, risk. And actually, I'm just an accountant who studied debit, credit, and taxes, right? So that's what started me to dig deeper a bit and understand a bit more about how banks think. What is the reason that certain accounts get frozen? Some transactions are going through. Sometimes the best bank is asking questions. Sometimes they don't. So that's when I started to realize that, whoa, there's a whole different world behind this. And there are logical reasons for certain things. It's just no one is really talking about it. So that was the reason that I started PSP Angels, which is now an independent payment and banking consultancy, educating people. I also opened my institute last year called Soltesz Institute, which is now unique in its kind because it's teaching people about payments and banking and how does it all affect the operations. And this book is basically the textbook of everything that we do. It goes through all the aspects, what payment affects, how banks think, how money moves internationally. It's got real life stories about it. I had a client and there was the issue, how did they overcome? So it puts things in perspective even to non-financial people to understand why certain banking decisions are taking place and how to avoid all of those very common pitfalls.
Great, such a nice thing. Just to summarize this in one single word, I wanted to answer this question. So, in short, if I'm gonna ask you that, what was the reason again? Was it frustration, curiosity, or just realizing nobody else was explaining the banking it clearly? So, what it could be?
Yes, I think because I was looking for answers and Noah had the answers. So as soon as I started to figure out how things work, I wanted to give the opportunity for the next generation to have a book to rely on and educate themselves as soon as they come into the payment and banking world. Is just really filling the gap because I don't think that there is a lot of information out there. A lot of fintech companies are there to sell their products. So there is a lot of sales pitch of like, buy our product because, but there is no really like independent advice, which is really teaching you to make relevant decisions around your cash flow.
Correct, correct. Honestly, when and today I was studying, I was trying to little, just to understand the banking atmosphere a little bit more in details, and then I realized this is not a single source for information right out there. And then, honestly, it's not a promotion, but actually, your book, I've seen your name of your book a couple of times in Gemini, in couple of Geni's. So it's a wonderful thing which what you are doing, and it was a wonderful initiative.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It means a lot to me that actually we can talk about these things, because that's my mission,
Yeah.
to create an ethical and transparent industry when everybody talks about the problem, because that's the only way that we can make this industry a better, more harmonized and more standardized one as well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Good. So, so Victoria, you've been there from a decade of wild payments, right? Changes from old school cash to digital wallets and cryptoverse. What's been the biggest surprise in how players actually want to pay lately?
Right. I don't know how long time do we have, but I can talk about this subject for years. Yeah, different industries have their relevant payment methods. Is
Hmm.
it because they are high risk? Is it because there are certain providers try to work with it? Is it because we are always looking for loopholes, that what is the payment method which has the least amount of regulation questions and issues from the bank? So it is a very, very complex subject. But when we are talking about the iGaming industry, we are in a very, very special and unique position, because
Hmm.
players are not only putting the money in, but they need to win it. There's no casino or no sports betting when you only just put the money in, you never win. Otherwise, you will never go back, right?
For sure, for
So
sure.
when the operator is integrating any kind of payment method, they need to respect how the money comes in and how the money goes out. But the problem is, what I noticed is that lately there are so many new solutions. These are the wallet, as you said, the crypto payment, the QR codes, the open banking, the card payment. So good luck for the operator to figure out what is the best suited for their activities, but also good luck for the player to see that what is the best way of getting their own winning, their own money out, and what's the quickest, fastest, cheapest, safest way to even input the funds. So of course, user experience is super important, because when the players need to put the money in, of course, they need to do it in their own comfort, in the easiest way for them, but it has to work for the operators too. And I think what adds insult to injury is all of these noise in the industry. There are a lot of introducers, there are a lot of resellers. You go to a gateway, it doesn't necessarily want to tell you what's the best for you, but what pays them the most amount of commission. So there are a lot of contradicting description, ideas, a lot of commission fueled advice. A lot of payment experts are posing as individual and independent consultants when actually they are resellers. So I think it is very important, mainly today, that have your own education, have your understanding how this industry works, and make your own informed decisions, instead of relying to your introducer, your gateway, your accountant, who might not even understand your whole business and just recommend something to get commission out of it.
It's true. It's honestly true. When nowadays, whenever you go out, you want to buy anything digitally, not just in iGaming, even the e-commerce platform, and when you go to checkout option, it's a mystery. You have to you see lots and lots and lots of option out there, and you're just confused which one is the right for you, right? And when it comes to credit cards and a couple of other options, you see lots of promotion offers, very complex UI, and I don't know. Especially with me, I prefer I prefer cash, but I can't use cash with e-commerce. But yeah, anyway, coming back to the point. So, if you were to put a payment innovation leader on the wall, let's assume, which region would be the winning trophies, like LATAM or maybe Europe, Africa, Asia, or who's still playing catching up?
I think it's really connected to the regulation, because when we are talking about fintech, we are talking essentially of two parts. One is the fin, which is the regulation, the banking licenses, the neobanks, the e-money institutions, everything which is like actually handling your funds and under what kind of KYC, ML policy and reporting they need to do it. But there is another part, which is the tech, which is the fintech. So the technology, those are the QR codes and the wallets and the tap to pay. everything which is fueled by these modern technology. And now we are talking about AI. There are self-executing payment methods. When you just tell to the AI agent that, hey, I want to pay for that, they have access to all your banking means, and they can execute the transaction on behalf of you. So there are a lot of things, but I think that's why fintech is super complex, because you need to respect the fin regulation and the tech, which is always changing technology at the same time. Now what we see is that in the emerging markets, the Latin America, the Africa, the Asia, there are more and more creative ways to help those customers to pay online. Is it because there are less of regulation and therefore is it a more risky transaction? Maybe, but also because those areas are now have the purchase power to pay for all of those services that they couldn't before. So we have a European market which is very regulated, very rigid, but obviously those are the best players to put the largest amount for the services. But when we are talking about emerging markets, there's always something new, something better, something cheaper, something loophole. Don't do that, do this. So it's very, very interesting to follow this up, but it's a lot of work as well to figure out that what is the best for you and which market can give you the most amount of profit.
Perfectly said. Because when it comes to payments, it's very confusing for somebody new coming to the market. Somebody wants to start their own business, new operators. It's very complex. Very Okay. Now, I have a different question, and again, it's more of a follow-up question to you. That when you talk about Europe, when we talk about Africa and Asia, every time every month we see different compliances are coming there, right? But I feel that cultural preferences are also one of the very important part, which influence players' trust in payment options, and how platforms should adapt the cultural preferences, because these things are constantly changing. Every year things are constantly changing. We see different trends coming up in marketing, in sales, in platforms, even the apps with what we use in a day-to-day activities. So now brands, especially coming from the Europe region, which I've seen, these brands they're trying to adapt the marketing strategies from the trends, from trying to influence people from their cultural basis. So is there what's your thought on this?
Everybody knows that when you have a company, you have to have a marketing strategy, right? Because you need to strategize. What are you posting calendar? There's a whole science for it. But when it comes to money, somehow we forget that we do need to have a strategy. We can't just reply some random person who is emailing us on LinkedIn that, hey, I've got iGaming friendly payment methods, and trust them millions. You do need to have a strategy, and mainly when you're an international organization, some of that what you do in one country is legal, but might be illegal or might be gray area in another country. It is your responsibility to understand the ever-changing regulations, because that also will affect your payment methods. And don't forget that high risk is high risk for everyone. Just because you're an iGaming operator, it doesn't mean that you can go to the local bank and have the Swiss banking, private banking experience when they offer you coffee. No, you're in the same pot in the eyes of the bank as other operators who might do things a bit more riskier, who might not have the relevant fraud alert tools. And your money is in the same pot under the same administration as those other operators. So the risk is on you, even though that you are not doing anything wrong. There might be something which is affecting the payment provider or financial institution in a level of your funds are going to be frozen with the other companies, other operators' funds as well. So it's not just about who is accepting you as a company, as a high-risk company, but who do you want to work with? And it comes down again for the education, because you need to understand what are the different licenses, what the financial provider has. Are they regulated in a country that you never even heard of? How do you feel like trusting millions and millions there? What happens if they shut down business? Well, are you going to sit on a plane and go there and complain to who, right? So you need to understand that which license gives what kind of safety over your funds. How are your funds being handled? How your funds are passed on to their partner financial institutions, because sometimes the gateway or payment provider, what you see, it's only the facade, but there is a complex layer of introducers, of a connections or a correspondent banks or a connecting links where you don't even know who is actually handling your funds. But again, it comes down to your responsibility to understand all of those risks and maintain them and make the relevant decisions. And good luck to you to filter out, from the sales talk of what is really working for your business. Because unfortunately, the other thing I've seen a lot is that over-promising salespeople. Of course, we can do that. Of course, we can. But then when it comes to testing or when it comes to actual activity, something is going wrong. How is it going to affect your operation? Do you have a contingency plan? Do you know what is the damage that it can do for you? What are you risking for maybe finding a provider which is 1% cheaper? How much more it's going to cost you in terms of risk, lost customers, data security breaches, down processing, the technical glitches. It is all a very complex thing that you need to decide what's the best for your company. There is no one size fits all.
I think this is the point, which is, because right now, as you clearly mentioned, that salespeople, and I've seen lots of marketing happening right now. I've seen lots of payment gateways, payment companies, and a couple of other, consultancy coming into the market, and they're claiming, it's a one size fits all. It's a one stop solution for everyone. But when it comes to payment, because it's money, it is going to run your business. And especially when it comes to, my question is, when launching in in multiple jurisdictions, there are multiple compliances, different things are happening. You have to follow this compliances, that compliances, and every month you see different compliances coming out there, right? So what's the biggest risk, or what's the risk of using one size fits all payment setup? Because me personally, if I'm going to start a business, I'm never going to have one fits and all. I don't believe in one shoe for every dress kind of thing.
It's the same question. Is like, you're going to the doctor with a headache. Doctor, give me a medicine. Well, it depends. What is the reason for your headache? Is it because you're dehydrated, you didn't sleep, you've got an underlying disease, you've got something else? So if you're just focusing at the payment on its own, you will never have the honest, unbiased answer of what you need as a company. We need to see the big picture. What are those operations that you have globally? How the money is moving from one country to another? Who are your key personnel? How are they making decisions? Who are your existing partners who might want to negotiate with you better terms and conditions, lower fees, because they already know you, trust you? Maybe that's where you need to start instead of looking for a new one. What is your backup plan? If that doesn't work out, who is going to still save your business when the main provider is going down? So it is a very, very complex thing. And you're absolutely right. There is no one size fits all. You need to have someone next to you internally who is not biased on commission, because unfortunately, this is what we see a lot, that there are a lot of good advice on the market. Hey, I can introduce you to a bank who is taking you. I know someone who is cheaper, but they don't really know your company. And there's always a caveat with every benefit. Yes, it's cheaper, but maybe the conversion rate is not as good. Or yes, we can integrate it immediately, but they are sitting on my money for 2 weeks before they are settling. So there are a lot of questions that you need to consider as a whole to make the right decision for you. And that's why it's very dangerous, in my opinion, that at the moment there is not that much of a standardization in the industry. Anyone can be a reseller. Anyone can promise whatever they want to you. And we're actually talking about money. So this is very, very dangerous. So you need to decide that who is giving advice to you, what is their motivation, is it commission or not, and how does it fit in your payment mix.
That's great, because when it comes to advice, right, it is very important to understand, where it's coming from, and even they know you or not, they know your business or not. It's a very fair point. I know it's going to sound like a promotion, but it's not. It's just a genuine question from me as a marketing director. I wanted to ask this. Now, how important it is for technology providers like us, GammaStack, to offer deep region-specific integration for local methods.
I think it's super important that if you are dealing with one side of the process, at least you have a full understanding on the full picture, right? So you might be going back to the original example of the headache and the medicine. You are creating a medicine for a certain type of headache, but you understand the underlying causes of that, and you are having understanding of why someone might have a headache, who does it fit, who it doesn't fit. So you are not giving wrong advice, you are not bullying a customer into a solution that they might not need. So I think here for you, the most important responsibility is to tell the client how did they need to build a strategy internally. Obviously, with the technology, there is a lot of things that you can do, and there is a lot of benefit that the customer can benefit, but only if it fits the bigger picture. Payment orchestration is not a payment strategy. Payment orchestration is a part of a larger payment and banking strategy. So if your customer is just trying to rely on smart routing and trust the fraud alert setting on the provider, that is going to create bad results. And it's not necessarily the provider fault, it's just you are using a tool wrong. You are using a hammer to sue. It's a different tool for a different purpose, right? So what clients need to, what the operators, e-commerce businesses need to understand, that the tool need to fit your specific purpose, and talk to the provider, talk to the technology layer, understand how to set up those fraud alerts, understand what are the options, what are the technical limitations. Don't expect the world, because obviously every tool is just as good as you can use it. So it is a very complex question, but definitely have someone who can understand your issues and advise you on that.
Great. I think it's a very good advice for me. Thank you so much. I think it's a buzzword right now, crypto. So crypto hype or must have? The question is, should every operator toss it in their mix now, or is it still a niche?
Again, it depends, because everybody talks about the benefits, but no one really talks about what is the caveat that it comes with. Crypto is something which looks like money, acts like money, but somehow it's still bypassing a lot of regulation, a lot of rules. It could give the opportunity for creative individuals to avoid taxes or move funds in ways that they shouldn't. And this is the problem. I'm not saying that you will use that. You will use the crypto for wrong purposes, but I'm saying that in the eyes of a bank, you are a risk. And you need to understand that what is the benefit versus what is the cost. If I'm integrating a crypto payment, risking my best providers, because now I'm not only just high risk, but dealing with crypto as well, and only 2 players are using crypto, and I just ruined all my relationship with existing banks, no, it doesn't worth it. Doesn't matter how much your crypto provider is promising you the moon and the sky. But if you see that, yes, it makes sense, I know that I need to find payment providers who are willing to work with the crypto processing, who are treating me as a high risk, but me as a company can prove that I'm doing everything right. I've got all the KYC and AML policies, and I'm not using the crypto to do something wrong. It's just an innovative layer of payment processing. That's a whole different question. But again, it goes back to the strategy of what are you as a company? What are you representing? Who are your clients? Where are the clients coming from? So for example, crypto is still illegal in a lot of countries. So even if you want to use it and you want to use it right, if one of those companies in your group is placed in a jurisdiction when crypto is illegal, your whole group might face illegal activities because of that. But again, who can tell you this? Someone only from inside. The crypto processor is not going to tell you that don't use us because you're going to be illegal, because I know that you have a company in certain jurisdiction. You need to make this decision. So crypto can be, again, a very good tool, a very useful tool, but you need to understand how to use it and how to add it to the crypto, how to add it to the payment mix in the most safest and the cheapest and the most effective way.
Great answer. I think it's a very good advice, and I think everyone before introducing new payment methods, I think they should definitely take legal advice, take expert advice. It is very important to have it. And you're there from such a long time. You are the expert in the banking sector, and oh my God, you already have written a wonderful book. So now, can you share an example, if if you would like to, where aligning payment options to the local market significantly boosted conversions?
Yes, I think again it comes down to the payment and banking strategy, that you understand that you don't just spend the marketing budget and hope for the best that you will find the local providers in the in the local area offering local APMs, but you test it. You ask the questions. Okay, who can we work with? Who do I trust enough to rely on to handle my money, my player funds, become part of my business responsibility? And only when you know their requirements, their processes, their capabilities, their limitations, that's when you release the marketing budget. That's when you start looking for affiliates. That's when you're doing the pricing, not the other way around. So what I noticed, it's not only the iGaming industry, but usually everywhere, is that you need to plan your payment flows and build operation around it, not the other way around. Not just, I've got an operation, let me see who wants to work with me. No. Who I want to work with, what is their requirement, and then I build the operation based on their criteria. Do they want me to filter out the customers in a certain way? I'm doing it because I want to work with them. Do they want this report in an Excel or PDF? I am doing it and I'm setting up the reporting because they need that. Otherwise, I can't have them as partners. So the tables have turned quite a lot. And now it's no longer what do you want, is that who wants to work with you that you also want to work with, and really affecting every area of the operation based on that.
Great. So let's come into the it's a very important, and it's one of the questions which I think our viewers definitely wanted to have the answer. Because I have seen many people that when they are trying to get into the market, when they are trying to become an entrepreneur, and especially you're an entrepreneur, I think you can answer this question, especially coming from the banking sector. Why is banking approval often one of the hardest hurdle for iGaming brands to overcome? It's still there, I can see.
Yes, and there is a reason for that. Because to understand how banks think, we need to understand how banks work. So back at the day when we were living in tribes, I gave you an egg and you gave me your bread. Those barter systems were obvious. But as we got more and more sophisticated, we have a common denominator, which is a money, which need to be safeguarded. Then people need to pay taxes. There had to be some entity which is appointed to safeguard and maintain and run this whole system. And these are the banks. You can't put a policeman next to every single person that, hey, did you pay your taxes? Or when there are cash transactions, nobody is really seeing that if you're cheating a bit or you're doing illegal trades or declaring your taxes. So the banks became those enforcers and policemen to safeguard and maintain the global financial system. And it's a huge responsibility. How do they do that? Out of fear. If I am not doing the right thing, filtering out all of those illegal transactions, stopping money laundering, my license is on the line. I will get the penalty. Are getting the penalty. They are getting they are having their license revoked. If they are not filtering out, something is going wrong on their account. So they have to monitor that you are paying your fair bit of taxes, you are not doing anything illegal. Otherwise, their license gets revoked, and otherwise they have to pay the penalty. So they are the safeguarders, and they are the ones who are enforcing all of those rules and regulations and maintain the financial system. So what happens if you are a bank customer? All of those checks, all of those responsibilities are now shifted on you. So you have to prove to the bank you are doing everything right. You are not risking their license. You are not posing a risk that they're going to get the penalty. And that's why there is a lot of questions. Now, how the banks are setting up the risk profile is completely subjective. Some AML officer understands crypto, so it's not that much of a high risk. Some don't. And for that, you're a very high risk customer. High risk means worse terms and conditions, higher fees, bigger opportunity for wrongdoing. It doesn't mean that you are going to do something wrong. It means that there is an opportunity for wrongdoing, and that's what they want to minimize. So that is the reason that banks are still considering our industry as high risk, but there could be a higher opportunity for wrongdoing. There could be a mishap when you're selling services, iGaming services to a country where you don't have the license. And it's one thing that you go down as an operator, but I am, as a bank or a financial institution, going down with you. And that's the risk that I want to minimize.
Oh, it's a big risk. Now I understand. It's a very big risk.
Huge. Yes. Exactly. Okay, I'm not going to risk my license for you. So that's
for sure.
That's the
for
question.
sure.
Yeah.
I'm not going to that. I'm not good at that. And especially for sort of business. Oh man.
Yes.
So this question is for for our viewers, and especially the people who are coming new to the industry and new to the these tough jargons, especially I'm one of them, honestly. What does this bankability mean, and why it is just as important as licensing in iGaming?
You need to show to the bank that you're not that much of a risk, even though that you are by activity belong to the higher risk category, but you're eliminating all the opportunity for wrongdoing. You are doing your checks before even anyone is asking you to do. You are collecting documents in a right manner. You know what you are doing. Your team is strong enough that I can rely on your judgment. You know the industry inside out. You know your players. You have all the tools and processes in place to filter out all the wrongdoing. So even though that you're a high risk business, you're not that much of a high risk because I know what you are doing. You're not going to ruin my financial institution or my bank because you are doing something wrong. And this is how basically banks are evaluating you. Are you bankable? Do I trust you enough to work with you or not? And it's absolutely up to you. You can present yourself to the bank as, okay, I'm not going to work with them. Or, yeah, even though that this is the activity, these guys know what they are doing. I trust them enough. And you know what? I want them as a customer. And there is a huge difference in terms of terms and conditions, prices, financial products that you can choose from, which is eventually affecting your bottom line as an operator.
Again, it's coming back to the risk. Again, I'm not going to risk. Okay, so I think a couple of days back I was reading some articles and some posts, and then I read this. I won't say the name of this operators, but a couple of the operators, they were it was mentioned that due to poor banking infrastructure, that limits that particular operator's ability to scale. Even if they have a really good tech, they have a really good platform, but still their ability to scale is limited. So can you just throw some light on this?
Right, let's say that you're a startup company, not even in this industry, whether you're selling shoes, doesn't matter, e-commerce, right? What is your goal as a startup? Get to the market, start selling, and we're going to figure out later, right? So usually you're doing shortcuts. You are not really taking the right legal opinion. You're not really consult with experts. And it shows also in your tech. You're integrating something which it will do for now. We're going to figure out later. But then you become successful. Then you get 10,000, 100,000 clients on your website trying to pay you. Click, 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 tries to pay you. But your system is no longer supporting that. And I have seen this firsthand, that what a big problem is that when you're going viral, all your customers want to buy from you and your whole system collapses because it's not scalable. this can also break your business. So it's not only about you as a business, you are doing right in marketing, in business development, all the clients are on your website trying to buy you, but do you have the relevant payment system? Do you have the relevant partners, payment partners, banks who are allowing you to scale, who are allowing you to go to a new country and start collecting money from a new country as well? Again, it comes back to the strategy and the planning, but there are a lot of things that you can do as a startup. As I always say, it's cheaper and easier to fix it and think about it today than firefight and figure out later. At least ask those questions. If I go viral, what is the maximum number of payments I can take per an hour, per a minute, per a day? They will tell you. And you have to understand that to align all of your marketing plans according to that. Otherwise, it's a reputational disaster. And of course, when you become a scale up, when you become a large operation, then also the payment processes need to work with you. They need to be able to scale up as you as a business scale up. 1 year ago, you processed 10,000 euros per month. Today, you process 100,000. Tomorrow, you're going to process 1 million. Are your providers ready to work with you on that? Are they supporting this? Again, on what fees, what risks? So whatever was working with 10,000 per day might be not enough to work with 1 million a day. But again, it comes down to your systems, your tech expertise, your internal processes to understand how to maintain everything. As you grow, everything grows with you.
Okay, honestly, I think this is one of the reasons also that why it's a such high risk for the big operators. When their banking strategy is not up to the mark and they can't keep up with the growth. Because anyway, you're going to lose. There's a lots of opportunity costs are on the stake, couple of others, and your reputation is also on the stake. It's a fair point. I must agree. And whenever I'm going to open my my business, I'm going to come in. For sure, because I know I have to reach out to you for my banking strategy. Okay, I think I'm sorted.
But it also comes down to the personal as well, because let's say that you've got a large operation, you've got a lot of purchases, great, business is booming, but of course there's going to be a lot of refund requests. This is not what I ordered, this is not what I thought. If you cannot handle that because you're alone, or you don't have the human capital or the tools to actually deal with all of those refunds and chargebacks and complaints, you can lose your best payment provider, which can eventually kill your whole company. And the company didn't die because you didn't have clients. It died because you have too many of them. And a lot of people don't even think about this.
I think that's going to be a very sweet poison for anybody that, the company is dying because you have lots of clients. Because I've seen, we have heard a lot that company is going to die, you don't have clients. But this is one of the scenario that, I think it's a worst dream. Just I won't, I think I know I have asked you lots of questions, just one or two more, because I think it's very important for us and for our viewers that, especially when it comes to the new entrepreneurs. And I know that you have started your journey, you have explained the starting. What is your advice? If somebody wants to start their business, right? Somebody wants to be an entrepreneur, and this is the personal, experience which I'm looking from your side, because you have seen that journey coming from your accounts, and you saw one problem, you have fed that problem, and then you have upgraded yourself. So, is there any piece of advice you wanted to share with the new upcoming operators or the new generation, new kids in the college, when they are just planning, they're thinking that starting a business is so easy, just buy a Shopify website and you can boom, you can do that. So, any piece of advice for them?
Yes, I would say, don't believe everything what you hear. Always see that what is the reason someone is telling you something. So if someone is recommending you something, what is their motivation of doing it? So is it because they're benefiting from you or from reselling that product? So that's very easy to figure out that what is the real motivation of someone recommending you something. And hope for the best, but prepare for the worst. Always ask all of those questions what if it breaks? What if it doesn't work out? What if something happens? Because at least then you have the thought process of the worst case scenario. And if you can handle the worst case scenario, you're good to go. If you can handle the worst, nothing can happen to you which breaks you, but start thinking about these questions now, because as soon as you're there, business is booming, you might not have time to build a strategy or think about all of those big questions because you're just too busy dealing with other things. And unfortunately, I have seen it so many times. You don't even ask a question, why do we have one bank account? All of a sudden you keep 10 million on that one bank account. It's a risk that, why are you even taking? Or for example, you are going to AI and ask for a legal advice. Okay, yes, you can have an idea, but would you actually go to jail for an advice which was given to you by AI? Maybe not. So it's always easier and cheaper to get prepared than fix it later. And this is your responsibility as a business owner to at least ask those questions from the beginning.
Yeah, for sure. Otherwise, be prepared, guys.
Yes,
Okay,
exactly.
I think it was a wonderful session with you, Victoria, and this has been an eye opener for me, especially for everyone who's listening this. And guys, if you want to get serious about iGaming platforms, definitely check out Moving Money, How Bank Thinks. I think it's like a cheat code for understanding banking, and especially we gamers, I personally, everyone who's into gaming, and if you ever been in gaming, cheat codes are the best thing in the world. So thank
Definitely.
you so much. Thank you so much, Victoria. And that's a wrap of on iGaming Unplugged, Unfiltered by GammaStack. If you like what you heard, hit subscribe because we'll be back with more unfiltered chats with the folks shaping the future of iGaming. Thank you so much, Victoria. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.